Excuse me, Mr. Bunkridge?
Oh, hello. Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. Your valet let me in.
Right, of course. What can I do for you?
I have a few questions for you, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, all right. I could use a bit of a rest anyway.
Wow, look at that chiseled face. Kind of looks like Edward from Twilight.
Are you familiar with a man named Ronan Lespay?
Never heard of him.
I have his portrait. Maybe you recognize him?
No, I've never seen this man before, but... Huh, how about that?
How about what?
The detail in this ferrotype is a bit fuzzy, but his facial features and hair, they vaguely resemble mine.
You know, now that he mentions it, it's true. Lespay does bear a passing resemblance to this fellow. Not quite as handsome, though.
So Lespay was killed by mistake. The killer wanted to kill you, my friend.
You're very into physical conditioning, aren't you?
Oh, you noticed. Yes, I believe that a healthy body is just as important as a healthy mind, if not more so.
Well, he's definitely prioritizing the former.
It's important to keep fit, especially at a job like mine where I'm in a chair most of the day.
What job is that?
I'm a clerk at the Bank of Vespuccia, but someday I hope to leave and teach others about the health benefits of regular exercise. Perhaps even open up my own gymnasium.
Ha! He actually thinks people are gonna go for that? Good luck to him.
They will go for that, Bill. You don't have the vision.
Tell me about your uncle.
You know Tom?
I've met him, yes. He's the one who told me where you lived.
Oh, right. Well, my uncle is, an interesting man.
Is that an interesting of the good or bad variety?
I really wish he would take better care of himself is all. I have the feeling that he's on some sort of drug, although he always denies it.
What gives you that impression?
Well, most of the time he acts completely normal. He goes to work, visits with me. Sometimes we go out together to the theater or a gallery. But some days his mood changes. He goes very solitary, won't leave his house, gets short with me. One time I went to visit him. I heard him yelling along with what sounded like furniture being knocked about. It only happened once, but it worried me. I hope Tom isn't in any sort of trouble.
Opium is one hell of a drug. It's a good thing you never got to that point with the soporific, or Adelaide would have thrown you out much sooner.
Are you all right, Mr. Fordham?
Yes, I'm fine.
What? Too soon?
Yeah, a little soon, mate.
Could you give me Tom's address?
You don't have it? I thought you said you'd spoken with him.
I visited him at the cathedral.
But if he's there, why do you want his address?
I just wanted to look at his things.
I have reason to believe he may be somehow involved in a murder.
That's a serious accusation, Mr. Fordham. What proof do you have?
Nothing concrete just yet, which is why I'd like to investigate his home.
Well, you're not the police, so I'm not obligated to tell you. I'm sorry, but you'll need more than just a suspicion to convince me.
Alright, so I need to convince you.
On second thought, never mind. So, you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven 4 nights ago?
That's right. I don't even know what the Silent Raven is.
It's a bar in the Chum.
Well, that explains it. For one thing, I don't go to that part of town. A man like me sets foot in that den of ruffians, and I'll have every Tom, Dick, and Harry challenging me to a fight. Not that I couldn't take them, but I have better ways to train my body than beating thugs. Anyway, I don't drink. Dulls the mind and softens the body.
I see. Well, just thought I'd ask.
I'm sorry I can't help you, Mr. Fordham, but I hope you solve whatever it is you're investigating. You seem like a nice enough sort.
And you know what? You seem like a nice enough sort as well. You're very focused in things that you like to do, and that there's nothing wrong with that. I hope you open your own gymnasium.
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Yes, it most certainly does. My lady love is named Priscilla Poundstone.
I see. What can you tell me about her?
Oh, she's a darling. I love her very much. Such a kind and gentle soul she is too. Loves animals, especially dogs. We've been together for ages and are due to be married soon.
When was the last time you saw her?
Saw her? Oh, no, Mr. Fordham. She doesn't live in New Britannia. She attends Miss Threadneedle's Academy for Young Ladies in Cormorant.
She lives in New Holland?
That's right. I've never actually met Priscilla face to face. We communicate exclusively through correspondence.
How did you two get involved?
Her father and mine were old military friends. They decided between them that their children would be engaged.
And you're both in agreement?
Yes. I admit at first I was a bit hesitant, but we share many of the same interests. The distance between us is not a detriment to our love.
I wonder how that will change once they actually begin cohabiting.
But you haven't even met each other.
How do you feel about the election outcome?
I'm disappointed. Atwood may not have been the greatest PM, but he was pro-steam tech. Sure, the Lygia incident was a tragedy, but people are too quick to judge. Steam technology is a boon to mankind. It's already enriched my life considerably. It's a shame the progress is going to be held back because of one isolated occurrence.
I agree. Technological advancement doesn't come cheap, but it shouldn't be abandoned entirely.
Now, about this correspondence, I kind of get the feeling that your uncle is hiding that letter from you.
So you correspond regularly with Priscilla?
That's right. At least one letter a week. My uncle does me the kindness of acting as courier.
Do you think I might have a look at one of those letters?
What for? They're private correspondence.
I understand, but I feel this is important. Perhaps you could show me one that isn't too personal.
Yes, I suppose that would be all right. In fact, I think there's a recent one on the shelf there. That's not too private. But you won't need to take it, will you?
Not at all. I just want to have a look.
Now, I really want Tom's address, and I really want us to be buddy-buddies, so you will do that for me.
Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.
My dearest Ned, I was so happy to receive your last letter. Things are going well here. I'm due to begin my next course within the week. How are things with you? Did you manage to set up the gymnasium we were talking about? You'll have to send me a ferrotype of your new physique. No, she wants that body picture.
Wait just a minute. Something's off here. The handwriting in this letter is different to the one we found before. There's something strange going on with this Priscilla.
Definitely. What is happening here?
Could I ask you a few more questions, Mr. Bunkeridge?
All right, but try not to take too long. Don't want to drop my heart rate too much.
About your uncle's address?
What about it? Why do you want it?
I think there's something going on between him and Priscilla.
Something going on? What do you mean?
I found a letter addressed to you from her at the cathedral, and the handwriting is different to the letter you have here.
He has one of her letters? Why would he?
I'm not sure, which is why I'd like to search his home and find out more.
If he's going behind my back, I swear I'll...
Calm yourself, Mr. Bunkeridge. If I find anything, you'll be the first to know.
All right. Tom lives at 117 Gimlet Terrace in Worcester.
Hey, we're practically neighbors.
Here, I've got a spare key. If you find anything about him and Priscilla, you'll tell me, won't you?
Of course. Thank you, Mr. Bunkeridge. Thanks for your time.
Not a problem.
What is happening? Is your uncle writing to you as Priscilla? What the fuck, man? Puffin's residence. Adorable.
Nice place. Tidy. Nothing incriminating that I can see.
People rarely leave anything incriminating out in the open. It's time to have a look around.
Music books. Clearly Puffin has never touched them. The look in her eye tells me she's probably hiding something. A statue of Eros, I believe? God of love or lust or something. Man babies in diapers never did much for me.
They didn't? Strange.
Huh. I was wondering when he was gonna show up.
What? The Jesus statue?
Puffin's daily planner. The man leads an even more boring life than you. Who knew that was even possible?
Or he's trying to cover something up.
Puffin's music room is a bit lacking in comparison to the one in the painting. No point wasting time searching Puffin's bedroom. I have a feeling that if there's something to find, it's here in the sitting room.
You have a feeling, Bill? Have you had them before? Because, I would normally check everywhere.
So Puffin plays at home too? His poor neighbors.
Yeah, what is it with all these people and having giant-ass pianos in their apartments/houses? I mean, there's one here and there's one at Upton's place. They have no consideration for their neighbors.
No point wasting time.
It's empty. It's empty.
Well, where is it hiding? There's nothing in here. Oh wait, there's some scratches in there.
That's odd. There are some scratches on the floor next to that statue. How about that? Looks like we found Singing Tom's buried treasure.
Let's just see what we have here.
Dearest Priscilla, I have completed all my plans and will soon come to visit you in Cormorant. Please remember that life in New Britannia is hard, so I may look a bit more advanced in years than you might expect. Ned? Uncle Tom, you've been impersonating Ned with this thing with Priscilla. That's disgusting.
Interesting stuff. But what about the box itself?
Oh boy.
It seems Puffin's gun has gone missing. He should really take better care of his things. Jenkins and Bowen. The name shares the initials that were on the murder weapon. That's quite a coincidence, wouldn't you say?
I would if I believed in coincidences.
Things are starting to fall into place here, Miles.
Yup.
Between the letters, the missing gun, and what Edwards told us about the effects of opium, I think we have enough evidence to consider Puffin a suspect.
Definitely. I think he was wearing a wig as well in the church and fake mutton chops. Because it looked ridiculous.
Nothing else in there. Too bad.
Too bad. Okay, I'm gonna save again. And go to the police and do that bulletin thing.
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Can I try giving you that description again? I may have more details now.
Sure. More details will definitely help. Could you describe the man's height and build?
He's tall, with a large build.
All right. What color is his hair?
I'm certain it's red.
All right. Do you know of any unique details that might make him easier to identify?
A scar.
Yes, he has a scar on his left cheek in the shape of a shepherd's crook.
Good. That will be helpful. All right, I'll put out the bulletin. Give me a moment. All right, the bulletin is out. I'll let you know if...
Upton? Just got your bulletin.
Hello, Giles. Have you got something for me?
As a matter of fact, I've got someone in the jail fitting your description perfectly.
You don't say.
Yup. Name's Harvey Presser. Got picked up a couple of days ago.
Thank you, Giles. You heard the man, Fordham. You've got yourself someone to interrogate over at Bow Street.
Well, what do you know? That was quick. Let's do that, then.
Fordham? You look even worse than the last time I saw you.
We can't all manage to keep looking as good as you, Giles.
What brings you back?
I'm looking to speak with your prisoner.
Presser? I just got off the horn with Upton about him. Seems you're not the only one interested in finding the man.
Then I suppose it's lucky I got here first.
Suppose so.
What was he brought in for, exactly?
He's the suspected leader of a cooping gang. Makes me glad I didn't bother to vote. All those dirty politics are just a waste of time.
And people wonder why nothing in Parliament ever changes.
What is cooping? Should probably look that up.
He's watching you like a hawk.
Like a hawk.
Harvey Presser, I presume.
Who's asking?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
What do you want from me?
Just a few minutes of your time. You don't have anywhere to be, do you?
Hardy ha. Ask what you want, but I'm not answering anything until I see a lawyer.
Well, he does match the description perfectly.
I hear you were arrested for leading a cooping gang. Is that right?
I don't have to tell you a thing. You're not a copper.
Fair enough, I guess.
Do you recognize the man in this ferrotype?
Should I?
His name is Ronan Lespay. He was shot outside the Silent Raven on election night.
That's a real shame.
Yes, a real shame.
Are you saying you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Not a thing. I've never even heard of the Silent Raven.
Is that right? Because I've spoken to at least 3 people who swore they saw you there that night.
Yeah, and you're not police, so that doesn't scare me. You can't do a thing about it.
This guy's starting to get on my nerves. There has to be a way to make him talk.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good. Leave me in peace.
Okay. So we need some leverage.
He's watching you like a hawk.
Like a hawk. I'll be back with leverage. Hey dude, so turns out your uncle is kind of a creep.
He hasn't got anything else to tell us right now. And he probably wouldn't appreciate the interruption.
But I should tell him. He's not gonna like it.
You got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
Did Ronan know anyone named Priscilla?
Priscilla? No, I never heard that name before. Who is she?
Just a name that's come up in my investigation.
I wonder if Ronan had finally met a young woman.
Oh boy, now you've done it.
Now I've done it. But I'm not gonna wrap up the case just yet.
Those are all the questions I have for now.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
So I wrap up the case with her. I guess I can talk to Upton to review it. I thought it was wrapping it up. So, Upton, can you give me some leverage on this dude in the jail?
Can we talk for a moment, Upton?
Certainly. What's on your mind?
Upton, what do you have on this Harvey Presser fellow?
Give me a moment, and I'll locate the arrest report. Here we are. He was picked up in a bar in Chumley after being identified as the leader of a cooping gang by one of his fellow gang members.
So much for loyalty. Anything else about him?
Not much besides his address.
That might be worth looking into.
It's 5885 Riverview Road, right near the asylum.
Ah, wonderful. Maybe afterwards you can drop by and pick out a room.
Very funny, Bill. Cooping was a form of electoral fraud in the United States. Got it. They were on the payroll of a political candidate. Mystery solved.
I'm guessing you can't go over this case with me either.
I have to distance myself completely from this one. So when you figure it out, you'll need to speak directly to Mrs. Morgan. I can still try and help you if there's something specific giving you trouble, though.
I'll let you get back to work.
And you'd better do the same.
Gotcha, Upton. Let's see what Harvey has to hide. Presser residence.
Just a moment! Yeah? What do you want?
Ooh, she doesn't look like the type to take any guff. Better watch yourself, Miles.
Well, I imagine she's kind of like Harvey. I'd like to talk to you about your husband, seems the best one.
Mrs. Presser? I'd like to speak with you about your husband.
Well, he's not here right now. He's been away for a few days, actually. Who are you exactly?
My name's Miles Fordham. I just have a few questions. I promise this won't take long.
All right, come in. But try and keep it down. My daughter isn't feeling well, and I don't want her being disturbed.
Okay then.
A man's coat. Seems Harvey wasn't expecting to be out for very long. She doesn't look so good.
Maybe we can get her some help in exchange for Harvey talking to us.
Some of those modern steam cleaners. If they use them in this place, they clearly aren't worth a damn.
Maybe they sell them, and they can't use them.
Presumably that goes into the presser's bedroom. Or it might be a closet. Or both. Seems to be a notice from the bank threatening to foreclose on this place if they're late on their rent payment again. No wonder Harvey's taken a second job.
Why would they display it on the mantelpiece?
It seems peasant soup is on the menu tonight.
Mrs. Presser?
Yeah, what?
So what do you do while your husband's away?
Hang on there, what are you playing at? I'm a married woman.
I merely wanted to know a bit more about you, that's all. I meant no disrespect.
Is that your game? Asking innocent ladies about themselves so you can have your way?
She doesn't have to worry about being mistaken for innocent, that's for sure.
No, you know what? Just forget I said anything.
Wow, talk about taking it the wrong way. I was asking what was your job?
What does your husband do for a living, Mrs. Presser?
Harvey? He's a traveling salesman. Sells steam-powered cleaners like the ones in the corner there.
Oh?
Doesn't make much money on account of most people being afraid of steam tech these days. But Harvey tries his best to provide for me and little Mary. He's a good man. The job takes him out of town for days at a time, but we get by.
And that's all he does?
What are you asking? You know something I don't?
No, not at all. I was just curious.
Oh, look, another husband keeping secrets from his wife. There are a copper a dozen around here, it seems.
Yeah, he's actually in jail right now.
Is your daughter all right?
She's just come down with a bit of something. This stew I'm making will put her right again. I've been giving her regular doses of Pink Bladder's Miracle Tonic, too. I'm sure she'll be back to tearing the house down again in a matter of days. Ticks after her father, that one.
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Never heard of him.
And you've never seen the man in this ferrotype?
Nope. And I'm glad I haven't. Looks like a real pushover.
Are you pleased with the election results?
Yeah, I'm glad that no-good high muck-a-muck Outwood was voted out. Maybe now they can finally get to work on that bridge to Gascone we've been promised for so long.
But won't Leroy's opposition to steam tech be bad for your husband's business?
Maybe, but Harvey's always managed to land on his feet. If it comes down to it, I'm sure he'll be able to find a new job in no time. I was never too keen on him selling those contraptions anyway. It'll be a relief to get them out of the house.
I don't have any more questions for you, Mrs. Presser.
Good.
Ooh, what an attitude.
She doesn't...
Well, we can tell Harvey that his daughter is sick. Maybe blackmail him that way. Or we could tell him that we could threaten to tell his wife that he has a second sort of job.
A few more questions for you, Mr. Presser.
Whatever you say.
I had a little chat with your wife. You have a lovely family.
Mildred? How did you...
I may not be with the police anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't still get the information I need.
You didn't tell her about me being in jail, did you?
Don't worry. It was quite obvious your wife has no idea what you're involved in. As a man who values discretion, I thought it best not to shatter her illusions.
That's awfully decent of you.
Of course, I might change my mind, unless you start to cooperate.
I have to say, Miles, you've become a real natural at this tough cop role.
All right, fine. I'll talk. Just leave my family out of it.
Will do. Roland Lespay.
Do you recognize the man in this ferrotype?
Yes, I do. That's Mr. Lespay.
And how is it you know him?
I was assigned to watch him and then pick him up on election night.
Assigned? By whom?
My employer. I'd really rather not name names, Mr. Fordham.
I don't care about your employer. What I care about is what you were doing with Mr. Lespay.
Well, it was a cooping scheme. He was one of the people I was told to pick up.
What?
Is this your first time in jail?
Yeah, actually. Suppose you think I'm just some criminal scum, born for the gibbet? I'm not a bad man, Mr. Fordham. I just made some mistakes. You've met my family. I'd do anything for them. Anything.
I suppose no good deed goes unpunished.
You can say that again.
I understand. This is really tough times, and you're just trying to provide for your family.
Tell me what you know about the murder outside the Silent Raven.
The most important thing I can tell you is that I didn't kill him.
Do you know who did?
Not a clue. I was inside the bar when I heard the gunshot. I went outside to see what had happened and found Lespay on the sidewalk.
And what happened next?
What do you think? I panicked. He was in my care. I wasn't expecting anyone to get killed.
I think Mr. Presser has a wildly different definition of the word care.
I went inside and gave the barmaid 10 crowns to keep her mouth shut. Clearly, that was money misspent. Then I went back home, told my wife I was going away on a business trip for a few days, just in case. Good thing I did, too. I might get out of this with her none the wiser.
What makes you so sure they'll let you out?
Me? I'm just a small fish, but I could talk and talk about whales. That's valuable information.
Quite the shrewd negotiator, this one. I think his skills have been wasted.
Yeah, he's pretty good at this.
Tell me more about this cooping scheme.
I got paid to find men to vote for Atwood. Simple, really. Once I found a good mark, I followed him a bit, knocked him out, then took him to the coop, a little room I rented near the Raven. I had about 5 men on election night, including Lespay. Got them all liquored up and walked them over to the polls. Once each of them voted, we'd walk back over to the coop. I'd change the clothes, maybe give them a fake beard, and walk back for another vote. Did it for myself, too, so people would be less likely to notice. Kept it up for a few hours, until the murder.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good. Leave me in peace.
Interesting. But I'm pretty sure it was Singing Tom. He mistakenly shot him because he thought it was his nephew. Because he wanted Priscilla for himself. That's what I think.
Hello, Jimbo. I have a few more questions for you.
All right, fine.
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Yes, that's my ship, the SS Priscilla.
I see. Did Ronan know about it?
Of course. He always used to ask me to bring him back some exotic souvenir.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
There was a misunderstanding.
Miles, have you ever noticed that this Jimbo fellow fits the description of the man loitering outside the taxidermy shop?
Yeah, totally.
The barmaid told us she saw someone matching that description at the Raven on election night. Not only that, Priscilla just so happens to be the name of the ship Jimbo works on. And the pistol used to murder Ronan has the initials JB etched on it. It could be a coincidence, but I think it's quite reasonable to consider him as a suspect.
Oh, I don't think it's Jimbo. He loved the guy.
He won't be much more help right now. Leave him to his practice. He really needs it.
Well, Tom, old boy, I think we're ready to wrap up this case. I think it was you, and not Jimbo.
Have you got time for a few more questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Yes, of course.
I've completed my investigation of your brother's murder, Mrs. Morgan.
You have? Oh, that's such a relief to hear. Who killed him?
It was Tom Puffin, choir master at St. Denis Cathedral.
What? But why would a member of the church do something like that?
Puffin is in love with his nephew Ned's fiancée, Priscilla. He's even gone so far as to intercept their letters and write to each of them under false pretenses. Mr. Puffin is also an avid opium user and is prone to fits of rage as well as hallucinations. The evening of the murder, Puffin was at the Silent Raven, and in his opium-induced fog mistook your brother for Ned. He had his pistol on him, and his rage and jealousy got the better of him. Poor Ronan was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And what about the clothes he was wearing? Or why he was in Chumley in the first place?
I'm afraid your brother fell victim to a cooping gang. They dragged him to Chumley and forced him to vote multiple times. He was wearing someone else's clothes as part of a disguise.
My poor brother. So what happens now?
Now, I'll inform Miss Upton of my findings, and she'll send an officer along to arrest Puffin. From there, justice will be served accordingly.
I see. Thank you for your help, Mr. Fordham.
Tom Puffin?
Yes, may I help you, officer?
You're under arrest for the murder of Ronan Lespay.
What? Oh, God. So it wasn't a dream.
Come along, sir. We need to question you at the station.
You know, Miles, you've been coming in here a lot lately, but you've never looked quite this glum. What's going on?
I've bungled things pretty badly at home. Been staying with a friend the past couple of weeks.
I see. What happened?
I haven't been honest with my wife. Coming here and drowning my sorrows hasn't really helped, oddly enough. And yet, it's all I can do to keep from going crazy.
You know, Miles, I've seen and heard a lot of things over the years. Some of the stories would turn your hair white. But through it all, I've come to learn one thing. It's usually not too late to make things better, but only if you let yourself try.
Thank you for the advice, Patrick.
All I can do is give it, Miles. Whether you choose to take it or not is entirely up to you. Now, would you like another gin?
No, thank you. This time I really do need to be on my way.
Oh. Yeah, let's visit Addie.
I should go and see how my wife is doing.
I see. Well, have a good night, Miles. And good luck to you.
Who in the ether? Miles? This is a surprise.
I've been an idiot.
Addie, it's so good to see you. I've been such an idiot lately.
Well, I'm glad you can admit to it. Would you like to come in?
Very much.
Was there something you wanted to talk about?
I wanted to see how you were doing. I wanted to apologize. I wanted to finally tell you the truth.
I've given it a lot of thought, and I think it's time I finally told you the truth.
Miles, what are you doing? You know this is a terrible idea.
The truth?
About why I've been acting the way I have been, since Bill died.
Well, go on. I'm listening.
Don't do it, Miles. You know it's a one-way ticket to Riverview if you do.
Oh boy.
I've been hearing Bill's voice ever since he died.
Fordham, what is wrong with you?
His voice?
I can't believe this! You've just destroyed your life! I hope you realize that!
Yes, in my head, at all hours. That's why I was taking the soporific. It was the only way to keep him quiet. Or so I thought. Turns out that alcohol has the same effect.
What does he say to you?
The type of things he'd say when he was alive. Snarky comments, inappropriate jokes. Mainly he nags me to find the flower shop burglar. He thinks doing that will let him find peace and move on.
I see.
I told you you'd think I was crazy.
Don't be ridiculous, Miles. It's nothing like that. It's just, I wish you had told me sooner is all.
I know, but I was afraid.
Well, I'm glad you finally trusted me. You know, you could have all along.
So, you're all right with it?
It is quite a lot to take in. I think I'll need some time to mull it over. But what matters now is that we can work through this, together.
I understand. Well, I should probably go. It was lovely to see you again, Addie.
Lovely to see you too, Miles.
Perhaps I'll stop by again next week?
Or sooner, if you'd like.
Sure. Like the men in white coats aren't gonna have you taken away by then.
Right. I'll see myself out then.
Good night, Miles.
Please don't send me to an asylum. Please, 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 please.
Fordham, wake up.
Huh? He just leapt over the side. I don't... Oh, Upton. What's going on?
Goodness, Fordham. You look terrible. Is everything all right?
Just had some trouble sleeping. More than usual.
Well, I hope you've rested enough, because I've got something very important to show you.
Oh, wonderful. If we're sharing information now, are you gonna tell Upton about me as well?
Get it, you're upset, Bill.
What is it?
There's been a murder.
A murder, you say?
I assume this one is special somehow, or you wouldn't be bringing it to me.
I thought that great detectives never assumed.
There are exceptions to every rule.
Anyway, you're right. The victim in question is a member of Parliament, a man named Percival McDonough, to be precise. But this is the real corker. The murder is clearly the work of the Justice Killer.
The Justice Killer? Is that the mass murderer I've been hearing about?
The very same.
Why Justice Killer, though?
It's part of his modus operandi. He kills his victims with a single gunshot to the head, then writes the word justice somewhere in the room with the victim's blood.
Talk about melodramatic.
The police are stumped. This is the killer's 5th victim, and there isn't a single lead.
So you want me to investigate?
Not just yet. First, I need you to look at these sketches.
Crime scene sketches? Upton, are you allowed to have these?
Relax, Fordham. These are just copies I made with the station's ferroduplicator. These killings need to stop, and I believe you can succeed where the department has so far failed.
So, what am I looking for?
The police went over each crime scene with a fine-toothed comb and turned up practically no useful physical evidence. I want a second opinion from you. If you can find some sort of link between them, it might be possible to track this monster down.
Alright, let's see what we can see. Maybe there's something that Snelling's finest overlooked.
Here are the 4 sketches. Have a look at them and see if you notice anything that might help us find this maniac.
Justice. Well, that's true. He did write justice somewhere.
Whoever drew this was a hack. That looks more like a piece of toast than a flower.
What kind of toast have you been eating?
What's the point? It's not like you're actually going to be able to investigate this case. If only you hadn't told Adelaide about me, I might share my thoughts with you. As it is, you're on your own.
Oh boy, he's really mad. So what, you're gonna be quiet from now on? Geez, Bill, take a chill pill.